Well, this video is called 2024 is the year YouTubers come to die, and it's pretty self-apparent at this point. I don't even know what the actual need is for my particular opinion on this subject, because obviously every single person and the Roblox girlfriend has already said something about it. I'm not about to just sit here and make this some long edited video about some ridiculous thing that everyone already knows. Regardless of that, MrBeast is the most subscribed YouTube channel. MrBeast was involved in a controversy recently where the channel has been exposed for doing illegal lotteries and also all kinds of very shady under the hood type of things, which just should not be happening whatsoever, especially involving a YouTube channel that routinely gets 100 million views. I'm sure no one saw this coming. First, we had Dr. Disrespect, Chris Tyson, and now MrBeast in general. Hell, even Moist Critical apparently is getting exposed. That's how you know that it's serious. Everyone is getting exposed. Why is everyone getting canceled in 2024? YouTubers have been taking L's this year, left and right. Everyone is ripe for the plucking, for canceling. Is there a specific reason why all of this is happening? Look, every day I wake up, I grab my morning cup of joe, and then I sit back and I open up the wonderfully refreshing and relaxing app of Twitter to start my terrible day off with an amazing rush of dopamine, and what I see is the same story over and over again. Somebody else has screwed up, done a bad, sent this emoji in a Discord server with someone under the age of 18 in it. Now, I might be exaggerating, but you get the overall point. But despite every single time this has happened so far in 2024, the biggest example has once again fallen upon us, the scandal of MrBeast, the biggest YouTuber, which for some reason people still call MrBeast a YouTuber. At the end of the day, MrBeast's most well-known and oldest crew member was exposed for having a very NSFW Discord, and you might be wondering just how NSFW? Well, I'll spare you the details. I don't care if this video gets any views or not. What I'm trying to do is just explain that this whole thing is rooted in the transition of YouTube going from the age of YouTubers to the age of corporations. I made a video a long time ago called "The Age of YouTubers is Over. YouTubers are an endangered species." I was actually going to make a follow-up video on that recently and call it "You're Gonna Hate This Take on MrBeast." That was literally going to be the title. But then literally this stuff actually happened. This guy dropped this video, so it was just kind of like, well, I guess I'm not going to be a normie, but I changed my mind. What I covered in that video was basic stuff that I was aware of at the time, that I knew that MrBeast was misleading people about, which is of course not what people are worried about these days. As a matter of fact, the stuff about Team C's and Team Trees is still being promoted as being the one get out of jail factor for him by tons of people online, saying, well, he's still done this and saved the environment, and it's been such a huge impact on everything, and that's why he should be exonerated. This is what it takes to get on the front cover of Forbes, the most prestigious wealth magazine in the entire world. And they surely don't have a reputation of putting people on their cover. That ended up being, well, a little bit questionable in their behavior after all. I think that this exact thing can't be demonstrated any better than using another example of 2024's wrath, being that of Watcher's channel in the beginning of the year, essentially being sucked into the same type of thing that is now everywhere. The sudden decision to move into an overextension of unnecessary production, creating a subscription-based model for content that used to be free, and literally at the same time systematically destroying their reputation in the process, which I don't think they ever recovered from. It really all just wraps around to the same thing. YouTube is evolving to become the very thing that it vowed to destroy: TV. And I know that because I got the exact same offer that Watcher got. It's from Vimeo, and it's Vimeo's way of competing with YouTube. And in their very sales pitch that they gave to me, they said that they weren't trying to overthrow YouTube or anything. They just wanted to give creators, quote unquote, a way to brand themselves into something bigger, something better, and something more grandiose, and give them their own platform to charge money, make big bucks, because that's the direction everything needs to go after all. Because how else are you supposed to compete with YouTube? Although that's perfectly fine, maybe not up my particular alley, but it does get harmful when you end up having so much power, but with no regulation and no one making sure that nothing illegal or harmful is going on, like you would find in the actual big world outside of YouTube. Circling back to MrBeast's channel, a big part of YouTube is the dynasty of MrBeast. Whether you agree with me or not, MrBeast's empire has reshaped all of YouTube and generally the entire online sphere of media just as a whole. This is undebatable. So basically what we end up having here is an unstoppable overarching regime with no one having any incentive to criticize something like MrBeast because there's just literally no way to counter it. Everyone's involved to a certain extent, even if it's just like turning a blind eye to something a little bit sus, something like that. And YouTube won't do anything because YouTube's only priority is making money. The COPPA example a couple years ago would be an example of that. Now, if you don't know what that is, basically you're not allowed to use targeting ads towards underage people, and everything in the major world has been following this overall regulation except YouTube. And then YouTube got found out and they had to all of a sudden in an emergency implement all these new crazy restrictions because the whole time they were trying to get away with not doing it. Now, who gets screwed over in the end because of this? Well, you and me, everyone else on YouTube, and the people who are the most vulnerable, the children, in the quantity of hundreds of millions. Same situation here. And once people try to step out of this YouTube world, then they immediately realize the actual reality. MrBeast, well, this very well might just be the beginning of that for this channel, and it's gonna be a hard realization. I don't take pleasure in seeing negativity and hatred and downfalls, but it surely is interesting to see things unfold, because this is the problem at hand. When you have corporations that are able to basically be in the same category as influencers, they can skirt by the rules that real things in the real world have to actually go by in order to, you know, exist, like following laws to protect the youth who are impressionable, who are stupid, who watch stuff like this. So MrBeast has been able to basically get out of the radar, yet at the same time being the biggest thing on the radar, getting more views than any TV show per video ever in human history, and yet illegal lotteries, scam merch, influencing unpaid labor for underage people, urging people to spend money on completely scientifically illiterate fundraisers. Listen, I've been on YouTube for 11.5 years. I've been running this one channel for 9 years, starting 4 days from the upload of this video. If I were to give my advice on someone starting as a brand new YouTuber, I would say this. There's nothing wrong with wanting to create the biggest possible thing you can dream of. You could have your head in the clouds as long as your feet are still on the ground. Otherwise, you're gonna end up like this. MrBeast's new game, Beast Games, is fraught with people getting injured, lack of basic necessities, and people basically complaining that they're breaking bones, almost dying. This is stuff that, if it ends up being true, can literally lead to the downfall of MrBeast's entire reputation and legal ability to do anything in the future. When it comes to the illegal lotteries of MrBeast's channel, some people going so far as to say, well, deception? Nah, not really that harmful.
The deception isn't very harmful.
A wonderful quote to write down in our history books, spoken none other by the man who's most known for the most rememberable one-liners of history.
I did pretty good. Hey, 30-39 on my second game of controller? I'm doing pretty good, no?
Look, YouTube will always be full of clickbaity, fringe videos. Even I have been involved in that. I've made mistakes. I've grown from them. And if someone plans on making me the next target of 2024 by canceling, just so you know, I wiped the actual floor with the last guy who did that with a nuclear diss track, and I'm prepared to do it again. Where do we draw the line on when this actually does become harmful? Perhaps when it involves taking money straight from the pockets of your very viewers based on nothing but a complete fabrication? Look, towards the beginning of the year, well, I guess not really, just kind of a couple months back, we had the utter implosion of another YouTuber, influencer, who was one of the most beloved YouTubers about 6 to 7 years ago, Boogie2988. This was just an endless fever dream of never-ending lies, deception, and then on the far other end of the spectrum, the extreme example, Dr. Disrespect not only being outed just recently for having converted from a .doc to a .pdf, literally having done that over 7 years ago. How many people knew about this and just simply said, well, nah, can't do much? How many have swept it under the rug knowingly? How many people were involved in Logan Paul's scandal? Why does MrBeast keep using Logan Paul as a known scammer of millions of dollars? It's like all one giant ring of scams at this point. And this is the natural result of what happens when everything just becomes about what makes the most money possible. Everything becomes compartmentalized. You know, what do we do now? Like, now do we keep supporting MrBeast? Is he a good person? Is he a terrible person? Nobody knows. All I do know is that this video that's been dropped by this guy has a lot of good information. MrBeast did come out with one of his employees, because of course, not him, and said, you know what, it's all BS, but he didn't touch on any of the actual subject matter. He just said, well, all the completely irrelevant, most irrelevant parts of the video aren't true, so I'm just going to say that. Sure, lots of this stuff can be overblown, maybe even false. But it's really not a good look when MrBeast starts sending out cease and desist letters to people who are covering this. Literally, it would have been way better for MrBeast to have just done nothing. Doing this is the worst thing you could do. Overall, you're going to need to do better than that when it comes to this. This video has 7 million views now, which is still nothing in the drop of the bucket of MrBeast's empire. And while I've made positive videos on MrBeast on this channel ever since its beginning, basically, the things like Team Trees, Team C's being scandalous in my own opinion, not actually helping the real problem involved, probably going to be covered in the next video of this guy's little operation here, I've tended to become more skeptical and after a certain point outright critical of MrBeast because of the overall effect his influence has had over the YouTube that I've always known since I was a kid. And this really only leaves room for, at the very bottom, the table scraps for everyone else. And most of it lies in the category of taking advantage of negativity, milking other people, even at the expense of journalistic integrity. And when you have a YouTube that's entirely based off of what prints the most money, then it will only keep getting worse. The psychology of getting canceled will only keep getting worse, and also the complete dereliction of all creativity, originality in the process. Look, there's just nothing but these channels out here that are just milking, and I made a community post literally like a couple days ago saying, look, I am so proud of the originality on YouTube these days, and this is exactly what I'm saying. The MrBeast effect has sucked all the views away from normal people being able to just be out there getting views for themselves. But what needs to happen is, if we can actually establish a real YouTube again, then it won't have to be like that. There won't be Sunny V2s, okay? Not that, look, you could be Sunny V2, I don't care. There won't be a MrBeast, you could be MrBeast, I don't care. There'll just be you and me. That's what I want. I want you and me. Not trying to be weird. This might be a breaking point. This might literally be the peak of this era. The age of YouTubers has died years ago, but now we might be at the end of this next horrible age of corporation slash toxicity slash whatever this is. I literally took this YouTube channel, you know, and asked ChatGPT to predict the next result. What is this guy going to post next? It's over. He's done. Finally over. It's done. The next video ChatGPT predicts is, it's finished. I'm done. It's over. I'm seriously done this time. So I just decided to take that opportunity to be original myself and do that for the thumbnail. Hope you liked it. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. And that's, I didn't have any script or anything, so you really have no life if you actually watched all the way till now. But I appreciate it anyway. I'm gonna shake your hand. Thank you. And until next time, my name is Dallas, also known as Infurness, also known as that irrelevant person you don't care about, just some random YouTuber. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Be better, YouTube. Be better, MrBeast.